Hey, good morning. I'm Charlotte Smith of 3 Cow Marketing. So excited you're here today to talk about this topic with me. And we're going to talk about branding because a lot of farmers wonder, do they need a brand? What is a brand? How can they get a brand? There's a lot of talk going around about you've got to have a brand. So how do you do that? Well, when I started my farm 10 years ago, I didn't even think I needed one because I had 3 cows and I was really small. And I thought, I don't need a brand. But you do, especially when you're small. It's what sets you apart from the competition. Now, I want to tell you what a brand is not. For instance, it is not a logo. It is not the colors on your website or a color scheme or even a tagline, like if you have just do it or any of those taglines. Those are not a brand. Once a brand is really established, like Nike and Coca-Cola and Starbucks, then of course we recognize them by their logo, but you will never be able to be recognized by your logo by starting out and basing your brand on a logo. So that's not it. Put that aside. As a matter of fact, I've never even had a logo on my farm. So a lot of farmers will come to me and think that they have to spend lots of money at first having a logo designed and paying for a fancy website because it's part of their branding. But no, you can build a very successful, profitable farm without a logo. Yes, we love logos. They are important. But the most important thing, the thing that is your brand, is you. This is shown to me over and over and over. And Annette says this has been on my mind constantly lately. So you are your brand. You are it. It's you, which means it's all up to, it's easy. It's who you are. It's how you show up. Seth Godin says that a brand is a set of expectations, memories, stories, and relationships that, taken together, account for a consumer's decision to choose one service over another. What's that mean? When someone says, I want to buy raw milk, and a person says, oh, there's Charlotte Smith, and then there's Farmer Joe over there, they immediately have something comes to mind for both those people. And those expectations, the stories that go along with that, the image, all of that is what makes them decide who to purchase from. So you're your brand. Last week, 2 weeks ago, I stood up in front of 200 cattle ranchers from all over Oregon, Colorado, Montana, and talked to them just about their brand. They are in New Seasons markets all over and some Whole Foods, and their beef looks just like everybody else's beef, and they need to increase sales. They need to increase their price. So I looked out and I was like, you guys are your brand. Look at you sitting in the audience. You're here with cowboy hats on and jeans, women and men. You've got to get out in your communities. You got to get yourself out there and make connections with people so that when they think of your brand, they see your meat in the stores, they remember seeing you guys around the community. So that's a big group. That's a big co-op selling their beef. Same thing with small farmers, which means you guys got to get out of your comfort zone. I know you think you're an introvert, but remember, that's not a personality trait. That's something you overcome with practice. So I know you think you're an introvert and you think you lack confidence and you're afraid of rejection, so you don't want to get out there in the community. But all those things are just feelings. Once you live through the feeling a couple times and you recognize it didn't kill you, it gets easier and easier and easier. So the other thing, the reason your brand is known and you're known to be your brand is because you know exactly who it is you're helping and what problem you solve for those people. So when people think of your farm, do they think, oh, she helps women get dinner on the table quickly? Or if you have a dinner, if you love to entertain and impress your guests, you're going to love shopping with that farm. How do they know these things? Because you've been out in the community modeling this. Your website reflects this. Your emails that you send to people reflect it. Your signage at your farmer's market booth reflects who it is you serve and what it is you do for them. The other thing that's really important, all of you who are in my Sales Made Simple course, you have access to that, the 25 steps you do to set up your farm business, the things you do in the very beginning. Step number 1 is uber important, and that is you've got to have a signature product. So if you're out in the community, you think you're your brand, but you're selling 10 different things. You know, you sell honey and eggs and chicken and beef and pork. You're not going to be able to brand yourself doing that. Choose your signature product. There's something called the power of one. And that means that you have one signature product and you've identified one dream customer that you sell it to. And you've identified the one problem that you solve for that person. Our downloads that are accompanying this video will help you identify who it is you're helping, the problems you serve, and then you pick a signature product. And that's what you are out talking about wherever you go. You are living this. You just are. You are your brand wherever you go. You're exuding who you help, what it is you help them with, and what is your signature product. And it helps if you have some in your car wherever you go too. If you raise flowers or vegetables, then you've always got some of those with you. Or I never leave the house without a pound of beef and a dozen eggs. And wherever I go, I'm spreading my goodwill that way and connecting with people that way. So again, also, I'm just checking comments over here. Everyone is saying hello. Thank you guys for being here live. Those of you who are live, this is awesome. So I'm just going to encourage you to get out and build your brand, get over the discomfort, those emotions you feel of feeling introverted and shy and inconfident. Those are just feelings. They're going to go away. But when you can learn to say something like, say your ideal customer is a 35-year-old woman who has kids in sports, but she still wants to try to feed her family a healthy meal, so she's willing to go out of her way to purchase from you. So when you are known as the person who helps busy moms get a healthy dinner on the table, then you're their farm because you've identified who it is you help and the problem you solve for them. Or maybe you are marketing to a 55 to 65-year-old couple whose children have grown and gone, and they are concerned about health and aging. It's always on the back of their mind. So if you lead with something like, if you are concerned about, or we've all heard the reports that a healthy diet and a little bit of exercise help you enter your the next phase of your life strong and ready to take it on, we can help. Our grass-fed beef or our pastured chickens will help you, you know, and what you're talking to is their concern of health and aging. So anyway, get the worksheets. The worksheets will help you do it lots faster than I just tried to do it off the top of my head. But when you speak to one dream customer and you're solving one problem with one product that you have, you are going to be known in the community. And guess what? I am known around the world for that, just that. So you will be known bigger and bigger and bigger the longer you're in business. You will be known, and that is your brand. That is you. And the colors, the logos, all those things could come later if you want them to. I'm switching up, you know, I'm always like switching up my colors and things. No one really associates me with a specific color or a logo at all. It's how I help people in my community. And some people will say, you've got to go to Charlotte's Farm Store. It just feels so good to be there. So that's what I'm known for. I'm known for when people show up, they feel good. That is a brand. You may think, well, that's silly. That's so small and insignificant. It's not. So get out in your community too and ask people, what do they think of when they hear your farm name? You can eavesdrop to figure out information like that. You can see that kind of information. You can even see in some Facebook groups and things. If you stumble across someone talking about your farm, see how it is people are commenting. All right. So notice what they say about you. That's part of your brand. So anyway, if you click the link in there, I've got a worksheet that will help you identify who it is you're selling to. You will not be successful at branding unless you know your dream customer. And then I have a worksheet that will help you figure out what it is you're really selling. You're not selling your product. You're not selling eggs or vegetables or flowers or beef. That's not what you're selling. What you're really selling is the solution to the struggle they have, which made them look you up or want to come shop with you in the first place. And that worksheet in the branding bundle will help you figure out what it is people are using your products for. Once you find that out, you are gold. And then you've got to reflect that on your website too. So all of this is just going to help you. There is no competition when you identify yourself as the brand, because you are doing what no other farm in your area can do for that particular person with that set of struggles. So when you become that person who's solving those problems, you're the go-to person no matter where they live. And then price is no object. I know we got so many new farmers in here this year, brand new farmers. You're really concerned about pricing. When you connect with people and you identify the struggle you're helping them solve or the goal you're helping them reach, money is no object. If you're going to help me reach my dream of running my first 5K this year, then I don't care if your eggs are $3 a dozen or $10 a dozen. That makes no difference at all, because you're helping me reach my goal. All right. The only way you know these goals or you know their problems are to get out and talk to people. So I'm encouraging you to do that. In my blog post about this too is a link to the 12 things I did to start my business, because it's really, really important you get out in the community. You will never be able to blast yourself or your farm out on Facebook or the internet or any social media enough to build a sustainable, profitable business. You got to get out in the community and do it. So remember, your brand is not that you have the cleanest, safest milk. Your brand is not that you have the cheapest beef or that your chickens are on pasture more days than anybody else's chickens. That is not your brand. That's not what people are concerned about. The worksheets will help you ask your customers what they're concerned about, because your customers have different goals and dreams and struggles than my customers. That's why you've got to get out there and talk to them and do the work. All right. So I also want to mention here, how are some ways you can get out in the community and start building your brand? Just one-on-one. For instance, I set aside one afternoon a week. Every Wednesday between noon and 3, I am out knocking on doors, meeting up with the local chiropractor, meeting up with the naturopath, giving her one of our chickens, and adding all these people to my email list. I might stop in a winery and visit with them. And this is just to connect with them. It's not to sell, it's to connect and build a relationship. You can't do that once and then hope that they call you someday. You put them on your list that you're visiting with them every 30 days, these businesses. So every week I get out in my community and do this. I will approach one of my customers who's a member of Rotary Club and Kiwanis Club, and speak to them during their lunch hour about what it's like to be a farmer. They are fascinated to hear what it's like to get up in the morning and milk a cow before your kids wake up, or plan your CSA and what is a CSA? What does that mean? What are people doing buying boxes of vegetables each week? There are so many groups out there that are interested in hearing about what you do. And guess what? Every time I get out in the community and I speak at a luncheon or the library, and there are 30 people in the group, I will have 15 new customers the following week, every single time. And I'm building my brand as I do that. And it's very, very memorable. Also, you want to connect with other farmers. Get together with farmers in the area, make friends with them, be the first one to go introduce yourself if you're new to the area, or if you've been around a long time, you just never introduce yourself. Get out there and introduce yourself. You guys can refer each other all the time. There are people who will call me from 2 hours away and want to make the drive to my farm. And I'll say, hey, I've got a friend down there who's about 15 minutes from you that raises products similar to me. I want you to go to them. When you build these connections with other farmers, you're building your brand there too, and you build that referral network as well. So that's a way to do it. Giving away samples is always really good. Where can you go do a demo in your neighborhood, your community, your town, a neighboring town? Do you have a friend who has a book club who will invite you to come to her book club and bring samples? I'm telling you, there are so many ways out there to get out in the community and build your brand. How can you get in front of school groups? Can you plan tours for groups? We've had tours. There's this group called it's like everyone in there has over $1 million, right? Well, we hosted a tour for all the people that are members of this $1 million club. And we got tons of new customers from that. And money is no object. Now, not everyone can tap into the millionaires. That makes up a teeny part of our business. Most of our business is just everyday people trying to make a living, average income. But when you get out in the network, or you start networking in your community, you run into people like this. So, and it won't happen unless you take that step of getting out in the community. All right. So you might think, well, I don't know any millionaires, but when you get out in the community, you just keep connecting with more and more people that eventually end up with so many customers that you'll be like us and have a wait list for years. All right. Share your story. Your story is a huge part of your brand. Wherever I go to speak across the US and Canada in person, I share my story and it connects emotionally with everyone in the audience. I started out by sharing my story of how my kids healed from eczema with raw milk. Maybe 8 years ago was the first time I spoke that story on stage. And lights went off and people feel that emotional connection with you when you talk about your story too. So wherever you can get out in the community and do that, whether you're one-on-one or you're talking to 5 people or 50 or 500, sharing your story is a really great part of your brand. And then just start small. I've given you so many ideas today. Take one of them and fly with it. But I think the biggest thing is, what is your one signature product that you sell? Who is your dream customer that you help? And what is it that you help them with? What is the problem you're helping them solve? And that's it. When you identify those things, and the worksheets will help you, and then you get out in your community and you share those things, you will have a brand. And before long, you will have so much demand, you don't know what to do with it. All right. So make sure you've got this all set up. I'm hoping you've taken our free email marketing training already, so you've got your email list set up, because all these people then need to be on your email list too. Thank you. If you have any questions at all, feel free to leave them in the comments or email me, and we'll keep this conversation going, because I really want this year to see so many more farmers work on their branding with all these things I've talked about. All right, take care, and I'll talk to you soon.